Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel, Beauty on a Budget. My name is Heather and today is Sunday, August 17th of 2025. I am down in my basement. I have spent the last hour and a half cleaning out my pantry. I'll just show. So this is the stuff I've pulled out of my pantry, the pots and pans and just other things I just have anywhere to put. And then I've got all my food just kind of lined up in my right here, just around the laundry room sink, and then on the shelves just above the laundry room sink. This past spring, we did have squirrels in our pantry, and I have wiped out the pantry when they were here, and so we were working hard to get rid of them. Then I went to yesterday, I was looking for my immersion blender, and I moved something, and some little fluffy stuff fell on my head, and so I thought, oh, I must have missed, because when I wiped all this down, I didn't fully take everything off the shelf. I just moved things and wiped everything down, and it had been, was sanitized. It was cleaned, but like I said, I didn't take everything out. I just kind of moved stuff as I cleaned each little section. And so I'm like, okay, actually, so I thought, oh, I must have just missed a little piece of this fluffy stuff here. No idea where it came from. How come it's in the pantry? I'm thinking it's been a few months since we've seen the squirrels. I think we last saw them, I think that was in June, was the last time we saw the squirrels. I think so. And I've got pictures of them. I will check to make sure, but I think it was June. So it's been a couple months since I have last seen the squirrels in my house. So I thought yesterday, oh, I must have just missed, like moving the stuff, just sliding stuff across the shelf, a little bit of dusty little stuff, kind of, got caught under something, whatever. It's over here where the pots and pans were. Over here, this is flour that got spilt, that I know. So, that was fine. That was just some flour that got spilt the other, the last couple of weeks. I just never got a chance to wipe it down. So, and I thought, well, I'd recently bought those containers. I'm going to start organizing my pantry. So I would just clear everything out today so I can get ready to organize. And I'm just going to stand up on my step stool. And I'm just going to show from over here all the way across. There was nothing in June. I think it was June. May, June. There was no remnants of squirrel nest or anything, or what do you want to call it, like their little bed. Look at that. So that means the squirrel came back recently. I haven't seen or heard anything, but recently the little critter found its way back in my house and started making a new nest because that was all cleared up. And there's the cat. I tried to figure out why one of our cats was missing its toy over the last 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks, I don't know. Now I find it down here, so now it's like, okay, so that means the little squirrel found that mouse. It was either my dog took it outside and the squirrel brought it back in, or the squirrel was upstairs in my living room by my cat's beds. So now I'm gonna have to figure that one out. But there is like no trace of the mice. Any of the droppings are all very dry. But because of this, I am going to be doing a very deep clean of my pantry now. So I'm going to run outside to actually the garage and get the shop vac, clean all this up. I'm going to spray it down with some good cleaner. I'm going to leave the cleaner on for a long overnight. I'll probably do a really good strong cleaner and just clean it overnight. But yeah, my food gets stored in here. We've been eating the food that's in here, but it seems to be concentrated over where the dishes were, not over where the food was. So yeah, and I'll say, as somebody who's had both mice and now squirrels in my house, I prefer squirrels. They are bigger, you can see them, they are so noisy. Yeah, like I said, so that was a surprise to me to find any of that stuff, any of it. on any shelf was a surprise. But when I got up to that corner and I'm like, oh, that is another big nest. In fact, that is twice the size of the nest I destroyed when I thought we had gotten rid of them. So I'm just going to go and shop vac, clean all this out, and I will be back. Right, so I've vacuumed and now I'm just spraying everything down with my bathroom cleaner, just the Lysol. It says it kills 99.9% of germs, and I'm just spraying this because this type of shelving is that, I don't know, it's the same type of shelving I have in my kitchen and my bathroom at the other house. So I'm just spraying every shelf really good, and I'm just going to let this sit for about maybe half hour and just really let it soak in and disinfect. And then I'm gonna find my bleach. It's out in the garage somewhere, and I'm gonna make a bleach solution and wipe everything down with bleach. But yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, over the years, I mean, no matter how well you clean, a little critter, insect gets in your house, causes a problem. The thing is, it's just if you catch it soon enough, then it doesn't become a big problem. Really thought that the critters were gone after I cleaned this out. Obviously, if I had gotten down here a little sooner to clean out my pantry like I wanted to do, I would have caught this a lot sooner, but it happens. So like I said, I'm just going to let this cleaner sit. I think it says just wait 10 minutes or something, but I'm going to give it a full half hour. So I'll be back when I've got all these shelves wiped off from this Lysol cleaner, and then I will wipe it down again with a bleach solution. All right, so it's been vacuumed in here, and I have washed off all the shelves really good tonight. I did 2 tries with that Lysol bathroom cleaner. I've actually used up a whole brand new bottle cleaning these shelves, sanitizing. I haven't come across the bleach yet because I do want to wipe the floor and the shelves down with bleach. When I go to get my husband soon, I will get him to help me find the bleach. It's probably just, I know it's in the garage, it's probably just right where I just can't see it tonight, but I've got all this done. And then, like I said, I will be going through all of the containers of boxes of food. I've got these ones sitting here. Not all of them, but a few of them have been kind of chewed on, so I'm just going to be getting rid of a lot of food. I've got some food that I know had expired. I just never got around to dealing with it. So it looks like I will be dealing with all of this either later today, for sure tomorrow. I'm just going through all the food, checking expiry dates, and just checking the condition of the packaging. So I will be back as I get more of this stuff kind of gone through and put away. And then, like I said, all of my, the little kitchen appliances and any of my bakeware stuff, I will have to wash everything before it goes back into the pantry. But I'm going to start with, I've got all my brand new containers I just bought. They're kind of just out of my way. I'm going to take all those upstairs and get those washed tonight. And then I can start getting all the food in my pantry put away. Right, so it's now Monday afternoon, and I was kind of working on down here a little bit already. So all the shelves have been well sanitized, so have all the walls. The floor is, I didn't mop the floor. I have kind of like wiped it down, only because I'm in here and I don't want to fall, so I will deal with the floor after. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out where I kind of want to put everything back in the pantry, how I want to have it organized. So like I said, so this half of the pantry is going to be food, and then this other half back here is going to be all my pots and pans and other kitchen gadgets. Not quite sure if these are going to be along here or I might move them over here because this is where I had them before. but I just wanted to see if they would work here. It's not a lot of shelf space between this top shelf and the next shelf. And then I'm just going to run upstairs and grab all the containers of sugar, flour, rice, that type of stuff that was all up on the top shelf, put them up, and then I will be back. Okay, so I've got all my flours and rices all up here. These are the 4 new ones. They are just so tall that they kind of are behind this board, which means you kind of have to tip them a little to get them on and off the shelf. That's okay for now. Then I have these are the other 6 containers I bought that were just new. When I went to put them on, I'm like, oh, this board is in the way. And then I thought, okay, well, I can put it sideways. And when I went to put them sideways, I realized that there is a gap between this lid and this board. These lids are on a slant. So I was able to slide them in this way. So I just took, some of them I took the labels off because I had the labels going on the side because I was going to do that. And then I'm like, they fit this way. So by just, you can see the slant. So they will fit there. I do have a lot of space still behind these containers and the wall. So I've got room to put other items. I'm not going to use like other, I guess, spices or other items that are like for refilling all this stuff. I can slip behind these. So I'll just quickly go through what I got. So I have diatomaceous earth, 2 things of oatmeal, rice or white rice, my self-rising flour, my 1-to-1 flour, whole wheat flour, all-purpose flour, white sugar, brown sugar, icing sugar, and skim milk powder. And then these ones I have tapioca starch, glutinous rice flour, coconut flour, and cornstarch. So some of these were in glass jars, and I'm trying to, as much as I love the glass jars, I want to get them all in these containers like this. These ones here, I would love to get them into the same ones as these so everything matches. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to go and buy like 4, 8. I'm not going to go buy 8 or 9 because I think there might be another one somewhere of these plastic containers when the ones they're in are good enough for now. But I am going to buy some more this week, probably a few more this size and a couple more of the smaller ones because I want to get my beans and pasta also in these plastic containers. And then maybe when I get more of them, I might do like a doubling up on this shelf here. I think they will fit if I had like double like that. But I don't have, my pantry's not organized well enough, and I don't have any more of these containers to really do that. So I'm just going to continue putting stuff away. So these plastic ones here, these are drawer organizers that I had bought for the other house, but they were just a little too wide or tall or something. It was just, they barely, I couldn't shut the drawers with them in. So I find these work really good. So I've got like all my sprinkles and icing, the fondant, food coloring, food flavorings, and then all my jellos and puddings are in there. It's kind of like each one has 4, 5 little different size of compartments, and there's 3 of them along there. So I'm just gonna finish putting food away and I will be back. Right, so I've got all my containers that I had holding all my food. They're all washed and put in the pantry. I wiped down all my food items. So all my food is now back in the pantry, except, like I said, the beans, lentils, and pasta. Those ones I still have in my laundry room or upstairs, just so I can get those organized. And then I've got this 2-tier, it's actually like 2 separate baskets, but they do clip into each other. And I thought this would be a good place for like potatoes and onions. And we're coming up to the fall soon, so now I'll get some of the produce, the root vegetables. So that was a good place. These 2 little baskets here, I used to have a bunch of other stuff would be in these. I'm going to use them. I told my daughter it'd be a perfect place for like the mini potatoes or onions or garlic, things like that that are like you want access to, but they won't be in their bags rolling all over the floor. And then I have this container here, and I have all my extra flours and rice and sugar in there. And then here I've got all my taco seasoning, browning sauce, like all my gravy mixes and things like that are here. And I've got my bread and cake mixes here. I've got my chocolate chips. I've got these soup mixes that I had made a couple of years ago. I gotta check through these. I think some of these, I can't tell if that's, they're just dried beans. So I can't tell if that is just some of the spices that look like that, or if the beans themselves have gone. I've got to double check those bags. Today's not the day to do that. Then I've got these things that I used to have in those black baskets. So I got pumpkin seeds, the whole anise, chia seeds, flax and Himalayan salt, quinoa, coconut sugar, this other brown sugar, muscovada, something like that. It's really good. It makes the tapioca pearls. And then I got my breadcrumbs. So that's all just nice. Oh, my pie crust. I love these. I guess I'm only down to 2. And then just all my other canisters here, which I do want to convert all of these into the plastic jars or the plastic containers. Then when I do that, my pantry will be reorganized again. But I love having my glass jars in these baskets. You can see what's in them. It also contains like things together. But it just prevents when you're reaching that you're not like stuff stacked like this. When you go to reach the back one, it's not going to fall off the shelf. And then, like I said, I've got like Kraft Dinner, those instant noodles, and then this here is all my baking supplies. And then up at the top, I've got like all my coffee syrups, and then I go into my coffees and my teas and hot chocolate. And then all those Rubbermaid containers. I found some seasoning, celery salt, and my protein shake mix. And then this is all my cans. Now, as much as I love those 2-tiered can holders, I love them. I find we're just not going through the canned food like I used to buy, so I'm not going to be using them. I might still keep a couple for, like I said, I do still buy canned fruit. But here I have, 11 cans of fruit. I've got a case and a half of chicken noodle soup, a case and a half of cream and mushroom soup. I actually have 30 cans of tuna, which is what happens when, food gets put in the pantry but not organized. I'm surprised we had that many. 3 cans of diced tomatoes, 4 cans of coconut milk, 2 chunky soups, and 2 pizza sauce. So like I said, we don't really eat a lot of canned food anymore, so this is going to get down to like probably very few cans. I think the only canned items I do buy that I would be on a regular thing would be the tuna, the tomatoes, and the coconut milk, and then of course some of the chunky soups. But the other kinds of soups, there's nobody here who eats them. I mostly use mushroom soup for cooking. It kind of, is a sauce or a gravy mix. It's a great way to kind of stretch some of the stuff. And then the canned fruit. I bought these. I was curious to try them. I haven't tried them yet. So I'll have to see what they taste like. But I just thought, a can, $1.50 for a can of mangoes, versus like mangoes are about $3 for a single mango. Same with peaches. I haven't had real peaches in a long time, and so $1.50. I'm not quite sure how many halves you get, but you get like 2 or 3 whole peaches, so that's really good price. Fruit cocktail I love. It's just one of those easy things you always have. And same with the little cans of mandarin oranges. When you can't find oranges, I think these were 2 for $1 or 2 for $1.50, something like that. So it's just 2 little cans for the price, I think buying these 4 cans would be the price of like 1 orange. So like I said, I do find buying sometimes the canned fruit is cheaper at certain times when certain things are out of season. But that is the pantry so far. So tomorrow I will be back down and I will figure out where I want my pans to go. And like I said, I've got to wash everything. So it's taken me a long time. Oh, and then I have this bin here, which I bought a few years ago from Dollarama. It sells a sticker, so it's $3. Just a nice drawer organizer. So it's got all these different sizes of compartments. I think it has 6 or 7. Well, 7 compartments. And I'm out of these baskets because I had 2 that broke on me. So I had these glass jars, and this was just sitting here. I was using this in my hall closet and had like the first aid stuff in it. So I just thought, well, the little compartments, you know, like each of my sauces each have their own little thing. I'm not going to keep it this way, but I just thought for tonight, then it kind of keeps the sauces and the oils kind of in a basket for tonight. I don't know if I'm going to keep it. I thought, oh, I could just, you know, try it out and see how it works. But yeah, there is my pantry so far. So I'll be back tomorrow when I get working on the pots and pans. Right, so I'm just down in my pantry, still organizing. I just ran out to Dollar Tree and grabbed a whole bunch more of these containers. I got 10 with the gray lids and 20 with the white lids. So these are the new containers here and here. And I'm just putting my stuff in here. So I got all my beans and lentils in there. And then I've got some of my other smaller, you know, like, sugars and salts, flax, chai, or chia. I mean, I always say it wrong. Chia seeds, quinoa, and some other sugars, things like that. So you can see like this, they were filled in these 2 baskets, are now in all of the gray lid containers. And then this bin here had all my beans and lentils. So now they're all in those ones. Now I'm going to work on all my pasta. So I'll be back when I get my pasta put in. And I also noticed that this bottom shelf here, I'll probably end up using for my beans. Let's see if I can just, they can actually double up and not touch here. I don't really know if I'm going to, but, or at least I can have like the tall ones and the shorter ones in front, kind of layered like this, so I can easily see what's behind and in front. So I might end up doing that for this bottom shelf. I don't know. Still just trying to label everything. As you can see, I don't have too many jars left in my pantry. I want to kind of get these into those containers. Just double checking. Oops. That's the one I got to do in the other gray container. I knew there was something. That's just the raw sugar. Like I said, I'm just trying to figure out what I have, what kind of containers it's going to go into. So maybe I'm going to finish these glass ones and then go do the pasta. So I've got all the containers now used up, and I'm just kind of moving things around the pantry, trying to figure out the best placement for all of the containers of food. Like I said, I'm trying to keep the food on half of the pantry, so I've got stuff more over here where I don't think I want them to come out quite this far. But again, it's just, I still have a lot of things here I can move around. Just trying to figure out how it looks when I step in the pantry. I do like having those white container, the white lids with the gray lids alternating like that. So if there's just some way that I could get them all to, you know, fit a little bit straighter, I'm just going to have to count how many there are and have equal amount on both the shelves. And then up there, I put those ones. They've got, you know, the different lids. I've got a couple other on the bottom shelf as well that have different lids. They're different brands. I would like to get, you know, all the containers identical, but like $2 a container, I don't need to worry about those ones. They are in a container, I can deal with it later. Also, when I went through the pastas, I noticed that there's about 3 or 4 types of pasta that I don't have, I'm completely out of. But at the same time, I'm not going to run and buy more containers just yet. That's going to be a next month. You know, kind of spacing it out, buying a little here and a little there over the next couple of months. Again, and then I've got all of my baking stuff I gotta go through. I wasn't getting rid of that type of stuff. I've got some of those opened food colorings. I don't know if they're still good or if they're empty. Same with a lot of sprinkles. Some are opened and I'm not going to test them right now. I've got so much other stuff to deal with. And then up there is still like my coffees, teas, and the flavoring extracts for my coffees. Hot chocolates up there. And then right here on this shelf here, I put the cereals and the lemonade, iced tea, and hot chocolate. Those are the things that my daughter always needs access to, so this way she can actually access those pretty easy from this side or from the other side. I will go on the other side and move them because I think they might work, you know, just where however it opens. I might move them down here as well, just so I've got more space up here if I need it. And then that's just the more coffee that I brought down from upstairs. And then these canisters here, these glass ones, there's a few things in here. Some of these small ones, like this is lavender flower. I love my lavender flower. It's just in such a big container. I want to find my smaller little jars, like this size of jars. So that's my sesame seeds, you know, orange peel. You know, they can stay in these tiny little jars. You know, wild and brown rice. I don't eat a lot of this anymore, so I'm not going to buy a separate container for it. Same with like this here is like soup mix. So when it's gone, I'm not going to replace it, so I'm not buying a new container. Same with this. This is just another soup mix. And this is also a soup mix. Well, that's my cinnamon sticks. I know it says cinnamon sugar. That's what it used to be in, but I needed a container for my cinnamon sticks, so I stuck it in that one. This hemp granola, I'm not going to replace. When it's gone, it's gone. Well, that's just some gravy mix. Same thing. I don't need to buy a new container because I'm not going to be, you know, keeping those. I do need a new container for the gelatin. In fact, this lid does not have a seal anymore. And then this jar here is my homemade coconut coffee whitener. So obviously I need a jar for that. And then of course my dried fruit. This is a mix of blueberries, raisins, and cranberries. So I will need a container for that. So it looks like I do actually need 3 more containers. Again, they're safe in these glass containers for now, so I don't need to run out today and buy any more containers. But that's how it looks so far. I think the food side is, you know, as good as it's going to be. As I need to get the items, that's usually when I figure out what works, what doesn't work on which shelves. So I gotta go get my husband from work. So when I get back tomorrow, I will be working on this side of my pantry. So that'll be putting all my baking ware stuff back in here, going through it, deciding am I using it or not, and going through and giving it one final yes or no. The shop vac has to go back out to the garage, but I'm still using it. And then we have the cat and dog food bins, which I actually love to keep them on the opposite side of the food. I will say, other house, the pet food was right next to the bags of flour and sugar and everything in the pantry. But I really do prefer to have the cat and dog food not right beside our groceries. But, you know, that's you have to put stuff wherever they fit. And then this will just give me this whole floor section here that I'm keeping empty. Same with down here. Oh, those are just some empty baskets and bins that I'm not going to be using at the moment. So I do want to try to keep this as clear as possible with not getting, you know, stuffing my pantry with a lot of stuff. So I don't want anything on the floor except, you know, the pet food. Then that box has flour, sugar, and rice in it. And then these baskets here are going to be root vegetables. So I guess I'll be back tomorrow. And tomorrow I will be working on this stuff here. So yesterday I bought some more containers. I bought 4 more of these with the gray lids, and then I bought 2 packs of these mason jars from the Dollarama. So I got 3 pack of these larger. They hold I think it's 500 milliliters, and I bought a pack of 3 of the smaller ones that hold 250 milliliters. So they are really for canning, but I love the idea of having some of my items in smaller jars. Like, I don't buy a lot of these little things, so to have them in these jars versus a big container like this just makes more sense. My cinnamon sticks just fit in this one. I was kind of worried that they weren't going to fit, although I had a couple cinnamon sticks that didn't fit in the jar, so I put them with my, was it the Star Anise? And then, yeah, I just have to run upstairs, grab my pen. I had it. It's not in my pocket, so I must have dropped it. And then, yeah, by getting these items into these containers, I now only have a few things left in... I only have 4 things left in these glass jars, so I can get this basket gone. That's the other thing, is I just want to streamline and get rid of anything that just kind of looks like clutter, kind of, in my pantry as well. So the only things I have is I've got some chicken gravy, which I should put in its own other container. I don't know how much is in here. So I think it might be enough to fit in one of those other glass mason jars. If not, I have some other... Oh, I am stepping on pasta that I spilt. Or is that beans? I don't know. Pouring stuff out of containers, I spilt, so I'm stepping on it. Okay, so I'll just see how much is in here and get that into a nice jar. My hemp granola, I'm not going to be buying it again. This was something that some of my kids liked. I'm going to make granola bars, and this will be gone, so I don't need to save a spot for that anymore. And then same with this big container here. Like I said, it's cranberries, raisins, and blueberries. When we moved, I just kind of poured all the little, all the little jars of those into one big container. I'm going to be using that to make my granola bars. So those will be gone as soon as I make some granola bars. Then I have this jar, which I keep my bouillon cubes in. And like I said, I've got it kind of written down kind of by color. So red is beef, yellow is chicken, green, veggie. And I recently came across brown packaging, so it's mushroom. And if they don't have that, then I write the letter on it so I know what the things are. So I do need a jar for this one. Like I said, so it's just, I'm down to just those 4 glass jars is all that's left sitting here. And like I said, I brought some coffee down from upstairs, and I've got to go through my coffee down here. I've done my teas, so that is fine. And then, like I said, it's just looking so much better and more organized down here. So I'm just going to line all of these containers evenly on these 2 shelves here. So it's all right here. And then just label those, get them moved into where they're going to go. And then I can start washing and bringing in the pots and pans that will go on this side of my pantry. And then I will be finished. Today's Friday. I started this Sunday, so it's taken me all week, kind of here and there, just kind of, around everything else I'm doing. So yeah, I'll be back when I start putting up the pots and pans. Okay, so I started putting the bakeware on the shelves on this side of the pantry. Some of these are going to have to get moved. They're just sitting here, like my slow cooker, and it's the 3-1. I hardly use it. I might just move it up 1 more shelf, because I need this shelf for my other baking pans. These I actually use on a more regular basis. But I was just trying to see how it will fit on these shelves. So that is what I've got so far. So I'm just going to finish putting these on the shelves, and I'm done with the pantry. Anything else I have out here is just a separate thing to deal with. So, like I said, clearing out other places in my house. Everything is just getting piled back down here in the basement. So, yeah. Like I said, like I was cleaning out the bedding, so all stacked up here. That's just all the extra first aid and soaps and shampoos there. And then this is still the stuff from the pantry that I still have to go through. I have a lot of nice large floral arrangements, like the flowers and the vases, and they just don't work in this house. So I'm going to be selling a lot of my large vases. And then as I move over here, there's just some bins of things that I'm still sorting through. And there is a lot of stuff that I will be selling just because they do not fit in this house. And then all these other container drawers and things and bookshelves I have to take upstairs. Like I said, that's another project, but right now I just want to finish the pantry, and I got to finish my kitchen because it's also torn apart at the moment as well. Like I said, I don't start on one. I kind of start on one thing, but it usually overlaps in a few areas. So I don't really see too much for dishes. Like I said, I love these things for holding canned food. They just don't work for me anymore. I'm not going to get rid of them. I'm going to collapse them and put them in a box and label them. I might, just depending on how, I redo our pantry in years to come, what foods we buy, I may find them useful again. Like I said, the one shelf that I had them on needs to get reinforced. It's kind of leaning forward a bit. So these were sliding off with all the cans of food. So like I said, it just needs to be, another brace underneath that one shelf. But like I said, this is another day. I mean, I bought other bakingware stuff like cookie cutters, fondant stuff. I'm not dealing with that today. I'm just putting all that stuff aside. Today was just the larger items and the food. And while doing this, I was making a list of food items I am out of. So I'll be back when pantry is done. Okay, so I'm standing in front of my pantry. It's taken me a little over a week or so to get this all done. I still need the shop vac because I gotta finish vacuuming a few things. So otherwise it's gonna go out to the garage. But here we go. All my pans. I do have a couple more of these pan lid holders, whatever you want to call them. They work really good organizing bakingware. I'll just slip this one out so you can see how well it keeps everything neat and organized. I do have one or two more. I definitely will need another one. If I can't, I've got a stack of pans there that I'll have to, find them and get the pans all in there. Same with these. They takes up so much less room when I can have things stacked the opposite way. Just set those in there because they're gonna fall. They just won't fit back there. But there we go. And I got all my little appliances here, all up here, all neat and organized. Everything is done. I've got all my containers, all the food is in them labeled. I wanted to get some more of 8 more of these to put these ones in. They were sold out today when I was there. I'll have to wait till they bring them back in if they do. If not, that's okay. I'm sure I can find some similar containers to this to make all the other ones kind of look a little bit better and put together, but this is good enough for now. And then up here I've got just all my coffees and teas, hot chocolates, baking supplies, extra spices. All our canned foods are all neat on this shelf so I can see exactly what I have. I do want to get a little thing put across here so that the cans don't fall forward, like a little lip on the shelf. That's not necessary. I might just end up sticking the cans back in a little basket. But I've got all the soups, and then my coconut milk, and then lots of cans of tuna. Like I said, we found 30 cans of tuna, and then all my sliced of canned fruit. Instant noodles and craft dinner are up there as well. So I've got all this done. That's more of the coffee I found cleaning out my cupboard upstairs. I have to organize that, but that's another day. I can at least say my pantry looks so good. It is so well organized, well stocked now. So I got these bins here that I'm using. I might get a few more of these hanging baskets from the dollar store. I'll see how many will fit across, just across here. And if I can ever find any more of these metal ones, I'd love a few more, another metal one here, just to kind of give more room for root vegetables. And then I just have my stepladder just sitting there. It's not the best place for it. I do need a stepladder to be able to reach the stuff on the top shelf. I don't need, that one's kind of big. I will find one that will store easier in here. Maybe I'll check the one I have upstairs and see if it's smaller, whatever. And then like I said, that box there, it just has all the extra flour, sugar, rice. But there, my pantry is finally finished. It's taken me quite a while to do this. It takes time when you have to, doing all my canisters. It took time last week. I couldn't really do anything. I had my daughter's sick cat here, so I was taking care of a sick kitty for a few days. So I wasn't really doing anything. And like I said, now this is done. So now I can now concentrate on the rest of the basement, which I'm not going to show right now because it is really bad. I just want to say thank you so much to everybody who subscribes to my channels and watches my videos, and I will see you in the next ones. Bye.